Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. It's time for the granddaddy of them all, the Grade 1 Anita Handicap, the Big Cap. Let's take a look at a field for the mile-and-a-quarter test for older horses, a very historic race. A field of 9, Mac, $750,000 is the purse. As we take a look at the bunch, who's going to run with Midnight Storm early? Can anyone run with him early?
I don't know, honestly, and really that's what it comes down to. We talk about pace makes the race. Well, this is case in point because Midnight Storm should be loose as he wants on the front end. It's going to be up to Bejarano. I think the only question for this horse comes down to how far does he want to go. I don't really think the mile-and-a-quarter is going to be an issue. But boy, at a short price, as you say, Harvey Pack always said it, don't bet a favorite doing something for the first time. Mile-and-a-quarter on dirt. I know he's done it in the past, but not very well. He tried the Pacific Classic a couple years ago.
He got dueled in a defeat,
He got dueled in. Today should be a different story. I think he's going to be very, very tough.
He has gotten very, very good for Phil D'Amato. 6 consecutive triple-digit Beyer speed figures on turf, on dirt, but on wet dirt. Do you think the last 2 races may be a situation? He got easy lead in the Native Diver, he got an easy lead in the San Pasquale, and he really liked the wet track?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I wouldn't discount that idea because, we've seen so often these turf horses, they can run a little bit on wet tracks. I think he's a really nice horse. I've had an up and down sort of feeling for this horse throughout his entire career. I'm back on. I think he's really, really good. I think he's far and away the most likely winner, but at a short price, I'm a little lukewarm.
We'll know Midnight Storm early. We should know the 3, Shaman Ghost, towards the end of the Big Cap. Second last time out behind Arrogate in the Pegasus World Cup. He ran really well in this race. It looks like he's starting to come to hand for trainer Jimmy Jerkins. This will be his second start off the layoff, and you get the feeling by watching him run, a mile-and-a-quarter is not going to be an issue for him. He won the Queen's Plate back in 2015.
I think if anything, distance is just his friend. The longer the better. A mile-and-a-quarter, Jimmy Jerkins, obviously a master, knows what he's doing. Javier goes west. He rides this horse as well as some other big horses in the bigger races earlier on. There's a lot to like about him. Fig-wise, he's got the 112. Guess what? That doesn't lay over this field. It lays over everyone but Midnight Storm. If you wanted to just say who's the truly best dirt horse in the race, you could make the case it's Shaman Ghost.
Basically, his last race was very good. He was getting good towards the end of 2016. He's hoping that someone, anyone, please run with Midnight Storm early. Those 2 are far and away the horses to beat in this year's edition of the Big Cap. Let's take a look at the rest of the field, maybe try to smoke out some prices. The 2 is Gangster, a Todd Pletcher cast off, now with Redham Racing and Doug O'Neill, a winner on turf 3 starts back. He's been in good form, but if you get beat by Fabazzi, you're probably going to be tough in the Big Cap.
Yeah, hard for me to spin that around. I think it's interesting that I feel like he's really taken a step forward since he's been moved over to the turf. He wasn't bad with Pletcher on the dirt, but I just don't think he's as good.
Isotherm, the number 4, it looked like he found his spot, stretching out in longer distance turf races in Southern California. I really liked the way he ran last time out in the San Marcos. They're running him on dirt. We haven't seen him on dirt since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile of 2015, where he was simply overmatched against Nyquist. This is a very difficult spot for a horse where he trains very well on the dirt, supposedly. Different story in the afternoon.
I wonder if they're just taking a shot, saying, you know what, we already have a graded stakes under our belt, and there are going to be plenty more. Particularly, we talked about how poor the Southern California turf division is. We know he'll be able to go back and be good. You and I have never loved him. He proved to me, at least, though, that he's finally putting it together. His gallop out was enormous, one of the biggest gallop outs you'll ever see. The distance is going to be his friend. I suppose if you want to make the case that maybe some of the others in here that won't be their friend, not going to be the problem for Isotherm.
I'm really hoping that he comes out of this race unscathed. He gets back on the turf next time out in Southern California, and I think he might be a much better price. The 5 is Hard Aces. He's earned $1 million. On his very best day, he can win a Grade 1 at a mile-and-a-quarter at the Great Race Place. He did it in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita back in 2015, but wins have been few and far between since.
Yeah, he's one that I would use underneath. He doesn't have any early speed. He's going to be outrun early on, and you're just going to have to hope that something happens up front.
Follow Me Krev is a cool little optional claimer. They've tried him against Second Summer in the Californian. They tried him against California Chrome in the San Diego, and he was found wanting both times. Is it simply a situation where he doesn't class up with the best horses because he's honest and he's hard trying?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Look, I think this is a nice horse. I wonder if the distance is also going to be his friend, where maybe some of these other horses are going to find the mile-and-a-quarter quarter trying. I don't think he's quite this good, but he's one that you could certainly consider underneath.
2020 Vision missed the break in the turfy San Marcos when behind isotherm, but really didn't do much running. After that, he is back on the dirt. You just get a feeling they're taking a shot here like isotherm. He seems like a better runner on the turf. Third in the off-the-turf San Gabriel most recently.
It's hard for me to knock a horse that's been in the money 15 out of 16 lifetime tries. I'm kind of over him. It just seems like he hasn't been able to put it all together.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's Big Cap. We're both taking a little bit of a shot. I think you think that Midnight Storm's slightly the horse to beat over Shaman Ghost. I would say that Shaman Ghost, simply for the distance, slightly the horse to beat over Midnight Storm. You're probably using both of those horses in any kind of multiple race wagers, but from a win standpoint, the 8 High Happy is interesting because he has some tactical speed.
He has some tactical speed, and I guess the way I'm looking at it with this pick anyway, if Midnight Storm is out there and he comes up wanting, with that final quarter, that final 1/8 of a mile, in a way, I feel like High Happy could be the one to sort of sit just off of him and inherit this thing. The most recent start, he was lit up like a Christmas tree from jump. He also had that workout that everyone and their brother spotted prior to that race, and they said he left his race on the track in the morning, not on the racetrack in the afternoon. The Seabiscuit, I thought he was a short horse. It's also worth noting, he's a Group 1 winner on dirt back down in Argentina. I know maybe the form hasn't held up, but I just think this is sort of an interesting one. The Lasix go on. He's in light if you're a weight believer at 116. I'll take a shot. Again, he's not one that I'm going to have a ton banking on because I think the top two are the top two, but I'm going to use him certainly in exotics.
But you could be looking at 15, 20 to 1 again. Group 1 winner, dirt not an issue. Getting Lasix for the first time, little bit of tactical speed. I pick Imperative because I pick Imperative every single time he races, seemingly. He finally did it for me last time out in the Poseidon Handicap. I actually thought he ran really well because he was wide and on the move early. He hooked up with Stanford, who's an okay horse, and he just outgamed him at the very end of that race, getting his head down at 1.125 miles. He has never been able to do it against top class competition. He, like several others in this race, they need Midnight Storm maybe to get pushed just a little bit, but the price is always right on Imperative, and I wonder if maybe Bob Hess has found the answer.
You know what the other good thing about him is? His recent form is better than anything we've seen from him in a long time. He's actually gotten back to the winner's circle a couple of times. He's won 2 out of his last 3, when for the longest time he'd only won 3 out of 30 starts, and 2 of them on bull rings. Look, he's far from impossible in here, and I think Gallardo learned a little bit. He moved a little too early to 1 1/8. He just barely got the job done. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer as they turn for home, then push the button.
Give me numbers. You like the 8 High Happy on top?
Yeah, I'm going to go 8, 1, 3, 5 in here. I think the big 2, those are the horses to beat Shaman Ghost and Midnight Storm. I think Midnight Storm has a very likely chance of wiring the field. I'll take a little shot with High Happy.
Small win stab for me with the 9 Imperative. I'm going 9, 3, 8, and 1 using Imperative and the 2 big names in multiple race wagers. If you're playing this graded stakes laden Saturday card at Santa Anita on Saturday, the way to do it, DRF Bets, because if you're a new subscriber, a $300 sign-up bonus is yours just for going up to drf.com/trifecta and signing up for DRF Bets. Approximate post time for race number 10 at Santa Anita, the Big Cap, 5 o'clock Pacific. This guy and Mike Beard will be on DRF Live, live.drf.com, beginning at
4 o'clock.
4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. They'll see you then.